Sometimes that is the case. Sometimes you do actually just get lucky.
Yep.
Oh, just to update you, so I just started my stream. I'm just gonna consider that as the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. But kind of like what I was talking to you about, I don't think there's any like glaring holes in my play. I think in every game, I think we can always look at each other, go, "Oh yeah, that play could have been better," or maybe I do this next time. But there's nothing that I think I miss particularly horribly as far as mechanics are concerned. And I've been playing mostly as support on the teams that I've been standing in for, captaining, whatever. And then I've been working on my core play a little bit more just to kind of be a little bit more well-rounded. So that's probably a situation where I could definitely use a little more mechanical guidance as such.
Yeah, definitely. Just make sure you never get into that mindset where you feel like your mechanics are okay. You should
Yeah.
always just consider it's never good enough.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, no, you're always trying to, right?
Yeah.
But you should still be happy with how you're playing, right? On that level, I feel. Because I think if you constantly question it, then you start like looking at it and being like, well, I missed the CS here. Well, shit, it's over, kind of thing. Like it just kind of
Oh,
starts compounding, right? In that way.
yeah. I mean, the small stuff is kind of whatever.
Right.
That you can definitely overlook. You whenever
Yep.
you analyze your play, it's always on a larger scale. You start taking into
Yep.
consideration, okay, this movement took 30 seconds to a minute or over a minute, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start to realize, okay, there's actually something else I could be doing that would have been a much more efficient use of my time.
Right. And then the whole matchup thing, right? Where you're a safe lane carry versus X matchup. What first item should you be building? What's the kind of the goal in lane? If it's a negative matchup for you versus if it's a positive matchup for you, kind of thing, right?
I think realistically speaking, though, as a captain, that's just something that you discuss afterwards
Oh yeah,
with your
absolutely.
teammates, unless it's something like you think on the spot, this is what we have to do. Then that's a different
Yeah.
story. But though usually item builds are something you discuss with your teammates afterwards, and then you kind of theory craft it, and then you guys come to a conclusion, and then you learn from that and move on, basically.
Yep. And with the better iteration of the team, that was a very easy thing to have. They were higher skilled players. They understood the game a lot better than the ones that I had afterwards. And the conversations were just much smoother. Matter of fact, you could just have those very simple conversations before in between games of, hey, this is what I'm thinking. How do you feel about this? Yeah, that's cool. What about this? Yeah, that's cool too, and mix and match kind of things. So I think we were definitely kind of spoiled with the two players that we had.
Well, it's unfortunate, but
Yep,
rosters do
part of
change, people change.
Yep. But as far as solo queuing is going and trying to raise it up, I got it up to 4,500 with just support play, but kind of dropped back down because when we play supports, it's just one of those things. If your cores aren't playing up to speed, then you kind of fall behind.
Oh yeah,
I'm always
definitely.
looking for more avenues to try to do better as support to try to guide my cores to be better as such.
It's really difficult simply because I mean it definitely is true. It comes down to if you're playing support, your courses have to carry you.
Just have to play better. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
And so what I end up usually trying to do here is trying to pick the 5 right away just to kind of ensure that randoms don't happen as such. And then we get somebody not comfortable and trying to, do shady stuff like this, like playing off lane juggernaut or like that.
Well, it's unfortunate, but I mean I can't
no.
say anything because I end up doing this kind of stuff too. I always
Well, no,
random, but
and when you're in the higher level play, I mean, we played with you and Brink and the other players. They know how to handle that, and I can trust them to do that. But pubs at this level are not as comfortable doing things like that. So most of the time, I'll just kind of pick meta, quote unquote. I usually just do a lich right away, and it just kind of ensures
10 seconds
a nice
remaining.
stable lane.
Lich is really good, but the issue I see with Lich is just simply it kind of makes it like hard for you to actually learn how to move around the
Playmaker.
map. Simply
Oh,
because
that's it, yeah.
well that's kind of a thing too because um your goal for the most part is you're an extremely defensive support. So a
Yep.
lot of the times you're just stuck in lane. You can't really move around, and if you don't move around, it's hard to kind of pinpoint where your big mistakes are because it's kind of difficult
5 seconds
to
remaining.
make mistakes as a lich, right? Because as long as you're constantly denying creeps and buying support items and holding teleport scrolls, whatever, it's always going to be the right lich play
Yeah.
to make.
Right. And that's basically what I've been trying to do in these pubs, and I'm just trying to ensure one lane just wins and be kind of happy about that. And kind of hoping that kind of snowballs into a better play for my cores, and I was just kind of looking at it from kind of an objective standpoint of, I don't know these players, I don't know what their skill levels are. The very least I can do is make sure that one lane just wins straight up. And having a lich kind of helped with that. Was the thought process. I've been swapping in between that. I played some AA for a while, but he kind of gets exploited a lot because, again, another defensive support. Then playing with Rastas, Lions, trying to make things happen on the map. Trying to play
Rasta is
heroes
very
that-
difficult,
Seconds remaining.
simply
He is.
because his range is not very good. So it's
No.
it makes it very difficult to play a Rasta as a roaming support. Ancient Apparition, like you said, it's very similar to a Lich. You do actually learn a lot more as an AA though, simply because you're so vulnerable on that hero that
Your positioning has to be perfect.
yeah, exactly.
Yep, exactly. And I had some decent success with it, but if my cores are picking bad matchups, there's no way for me to really facilitate helping them on an A most of the time.
I mean, the thing about Ancient Apparition though is that as long as your core isn't too passive, most of the
Yeah.
time it's very difficult for you to end up losing a lane unless you're against a very difficult dual lane, for example. Then you might have issues, but even then, just by having Chilling Touch, most of the time it should be a fairly easy win.
Yeah. So here, I just tend to kind of do the usual plays of trying to get a really decent mid-weight lane ward for that, and then I try to pick a better spot for the second ward depending on how the lanes look up. Most of the time, it ends up going to my safe lane just to ensure that my two more important lanes survive.
So I think the first thing I would recommend is that you should definitely avoid doing this all the time. It's a pretty big gold investment. It's 100 gold, right?
It is.
And it's not something that you always need. It's only something that you really need when you know there's some kind of threat on the map, right? Whether it's a lane matchup that you want to avoid for your team,
Yep.
or a potential roamer that's going to make your lanes very, very difficult, right? So for a good example is one of the best ones is Earth Spirit. I don't know how often you see that hero, but that hero is really, really annoying when it comes to being a mid player, and you always want to see his rotation. So if you're against an Earth Spirit, for example, then smoking up, TPing mid, and then setting up a ward on their side of the map is definitely worth it, because that's his his angle of attack. Right?
That's his game.
But this game, there's pretty much 5 cores on the other team, right? So
Yeah. I was just gonna kind of put you through the kind of normal
yeah, I know what you
thing
mean.
that I'm kind of doing, and obviously, it's not as pertinent for this game.
But yeah, for this game, definitely, I think it's more beneficial just to hold on to your gold. You just walk into maybe the side lane, for example, or maybe walk into the other jungle with your team and just kind of scope things out, and you can just take your time with placing the wards, because there's really no one who's threatening you when it comes to dewarding. I don't think any of them are
Right.
going to buy anything. Look at these guys. They're dual core mid. Unfortunately, that's the nature of normal games. So who knows?
It is, yeah, right. But it'll still give a general. So
I also think that if you play a hero like Lich, a super defensive hero like Lynch, you don't really need that many items. It's always a good idea to start with the TP.
yeah, and there have been games where we've been in that situation where it's all right, I don't need to smoke out and TP right away, and I'll just keep a TP from the first starting gold, and just be prepared for ganks and things of that nature.
Yeah, because you can hit level 2 very quickly as Lich, and
Very quickly.
yeah, it's not all that surprising, having people dove at level 1 or 2 or whatever, and you can easily just TP in, turn a gank. It's always a worthwhile investment. Your axe has it, or your Juggernaut is in a lot of trouble.
Yep, a lot of trouble.
I have no idea what he's doing. Oh, this guy has... Oh, you got him. So for a lane like this, I would definitely tell.
You take the ice armor probably, or
no. The ice armor wouldn't do anything. He's still gonna die to the spin.
Yep.
The bigger thing is that against an axe, it's not exactly the easiest lane to deal with, especially since this Juggernaut didn't do a good job at level 1. This is a kind of matchup where you basically have to expend all your resources at level 1 to prevent him from hitting 2. And if you manage to get everyone to 2 before he hits 2, you can easily zone him for the rest of the way. So it's like a good idea to tell your core in this kind of matchup to just shove out the lane as fast as possible so that you can make pulls happen. Otherwise, it's just kept right here, and you're basically put in this static position where you can't really do anything. And that's like the last thing you want to be doing.
Right. You want to be as aggressive as possible if you can.
Or efficient. You know, you could be stacking a different camp here, or running around collecting bounty runes, for example.
Yep.
I think even at level 3, I would still go for a level of ice armor. That's just me though.
The 1/1/1 build.
Yeah, I think I would still go for the 1/1. There's too much value in having 1 point of ice armor.
There is, and I've definitely done that with games where things kind of get a little bit more dicey. But if things are a little more passive and we're kind of in control, then I tend to just go sack and just make sure that I'm getting my levels.
Yeah, that's definitely viable. If he wasn't actually showing up in lane, right? Like if he's just jungling and gave up in laning, that's definitely the route to go. But clearly not the case here.
Indeed.
So 4 minutes is coming up.
Yep.
I don't really see you guys with a great way to kill him off unless your Invoker actually does something for you here. Probably should just ping him and tell Invoker to do something.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Juggernaut just lost everything, so you're back in this very passive,
unfortunate position.
Yeah, you can't really do much. I think Storm is
jungling at this point.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't underestimate how much damage you can do as a Lich.
Indeed, yeah.
I would actually consider doing something as aggressive as just walking into their jungle with wards and slowing down his jungle speed. God, Lich gets so much EXP.
Chug's dead here.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Unfortunately, Invoker doesn't have Sunstrike either. Your Jug is actually insane.
Insane.
Well, this is unfortunately the Lich life. You're just kind of sitting here. I think for their 5th level, I would have probably held off on getting Sacrifice.
Just kind of play it by ear, whether I go Nuke or Frosty Armor kind of thing.
Because time and time again, you guys have come so close to killing Axe just with a
little extra damage.
Yeah. Yep. I think if you're kind of forced to zone out a offlaner with Poor Man's Shield, it might not be a bad investment to go for Orb of Venom as well, even if you're support.
Now, how worthwhile of an investment?
It's pretty insane.
I keep seeing it pretty often, but I never really know how good it is. Value auto tech.
I think it's pretty good, especially since you're not exactly moving around much, anyways. It's gonna help you keep him out of the.
No, I have these sentry words, but I do. Okay, now like you were saying, let's go see where the storm's at. It's level 3. Literally the worst.
That's another reason why it's also nice to have level 2 Frost Blast, because chances are they're going to be really low in the jungle, and I mean, sometimes all it takes is just one blast and you get a free kill.
Now, would you place it here for general
You should
awareness,
find
or
out.
would you kind of go
You
a
should
little deeper?
find out
Probably?
where he is first before you decide to place it. You want to find out where they're jungling majority of the time, and then you make a decision from that. So you can. He's probably right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're both here.
There's a troll jungling here too. So I mean, placing it on the hill, not a bad idea.
Yep.
People don't really, they don't really expect you to drop one here, right? It's 7 minutes. Into
I can just go right on the pillar too, or do you want me to just go?
Yeah, on the pillar, like on the pillar. Because no one's gonna expect this. Like, yeah, and this is where you want the
extra level of Frost Blast. Yep.
Because between that and if you had an Orb of Venom, maybe it's a kill. Orb of Venom is obviously very, very optional. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get as much for free, so it is a pretty hefty investment. But
it is.
Sometimes
and I wasn't sure. I'd been seeing offlaners kind of pick it up occasionally for just sheer damage purposes. I was wondering how viable that was.
Alright, your Jug has issues.
Lots of issues.
This guy does Omni Slash in front of 4 creeps.
I saw that. He's a man. What can we say?
Alright, I mean, it's whatever. I think in that position, I would play aggressively. Instead of walking to the lane, I would have immediately walked to the shrine to see if the axe was going to go there. Because if he did go there, it was probably going to be a free kill.
He's a kill. Yep.
And if there is no shrine, I mean, he's going to be forced back into the base. Just a small thing too is just make sure, absolutely sure, you're hiding yourself as much as possible whenever you can. I think he might have seen you, during the daytime.
Okay.
Jug has no mana.
No.
Gaydar down. Well, your Invoker's owning.
Got it.
But the axe is owning too. You guys can probably make a kill here. This guy has level 4 Blade Fury. Yeah, just do it.
Dots, please.
Alright, nice.
Kill.
You know, honestly, as crazy as this guy is, like, it's better to play with players like this than the ones that are mad passive. Those are the worst to play with.
Completely. Yep, I 100% agree, especially on cores where you constantly see, like, that video that Blitz did, I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that, where he was discussing safe farm versus good farm.
Right.
You know, affecting the map and things like that. And it was just so, it was really eye-open.
Yeah.
The weirdest way.
No, I understand that feeling. It was like the first time I learned about staying off the map.
Yep, and it's such an obvious way of thinking about this game right now.
Yeah, but
it should have been.
It doesn't like
no
occur to you at all.
Well, and it's about the impact of it, right? Like it's one thing to sit there and go, yeah. There's more experience, there's more farm, all that kind of jazz, and it's another to sit there and think, well, if I do this, then we can now think, hey, they're here, or they have to make a commitment to be somewhere else, you know, and that either opens up an opportunity for me to have, you know, have space to take the tower. We know where they are, you know, all the points that he discussed in his video, and when cores aren't doing that, we notice. And you know, there's been so many times that we've just won games because of that type of a mentality. And it's so here's one of those moments where it's like, all right, the ward could go anywhere. You know.
I wouldn't say it can go anywhere. You basically want to plan your next course of action around your
Right.
wards. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of true that it can go anywhere, but you're gonna have to strategize around it anyways. So if you want to work around the top or mid tower, you definitely want to just drop wards in that
Right.
area.
So the pillar just north of the tier 1 seems, or just to the east of the pillar, tier 1 there seems like a good spot to do it. It's now nighttime. Right.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly fine. Sometimes you want to consider just holding off on doing it in that area just because it's so commonly dewarded. You can
Very.
go for a different spot. And what is this guy doing?
It's running at us. Cool. And so here, I still think Frost Armor is good, but the damage is just as good. I feel like they don't have enough physical damage to warrant Ice Armor being maxed first, but maybe.
I think for a game like this, I'd probably just keep it at 1.
Yeah.
Or maybe actually I would go. Yeah, this is fine. Maybe for level 10 you can take another point of ice armor or go for the
Sorry.
health talent. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd probably go for health first, and then go for ice armor. 3 points of frost blast probably enough.
Your middle
That's what I was thinking
tower
too. So as far as the first big item, I tend to consider Glimmer Cape and Force Staff as being the major first for Lich at least.
is under attack.
I think for this game you want to.
I feel like Force is better.
I think force is
here.
better too. I think both are good. I mean, honestly, if you can get any type of item, it's always good.
It is.
I think this mid ward is probably not as necessary simply because this tower's already taken, and
It is.
if your cores are doing the right thing, it's always gonna be on their side of the map, so you'll be able to see this.
It's dewarded already anyway.
Yeah, they had
Somebody
sentry there.
is actually buying. Somebody is. Okay, so Storm's buying it. And Midas.
The enemy's bottom
Yeah, I mean they have
Or-
5 cores. Your opponents are just trying to farm the way to win, to a win.
Yeah. Yep.
If this was like a ranked game and for some reason this was actually the draft, I would have told my Kunkka to follow me into the jungle and drop
Just gank him.
wards and gank
Yeah.
all the junglers. Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that as tribute.
Don't let your middle tower down.
You definitely always just want to remember to ward for objectives. That's what
Yeah.
you really want to be doing. Pipe might not even be a bad idea.
Horrible idea. Yeah. And I almost think like the same spot might just be better. See a reason to have it here by the bounty rune.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think it's that big of a
No.
deal.
Difference.
Sometimes you can place it like actually right next to the camp. I don't know if you can see my drawing.
Yep, that's definitely a common one. I usually try to do that one when the tier 1's still up. It's just so you can get a little added benefit from behind slightly.
I actually wonder for this game it would have been better to pick up a buckler.
Always casual buckler.
Yeah, I mean for this game I think it's actually pretty good. There's a troll as well as a shadow fiend. I mean you're gonna take a lot of physical damage. But you are a lich, so
It's not as if I have the easiest time farming. Now here, I think it's pretty straightforward for the health or support.
I would take health.
It's almost always the pick, in my opinion.
Radiant structures have been snow fortified. Your middle tower is gone.
What is your jug doing?
Clean it up, dude.
Oh god, this guy's insane.
You really should look at your bottom tower.
What is happening?
He's going, dude. Remnants. Oh.
That was a little too close for comfort. I probably would have chain frosted that.
That's what I was thinking too. But
Because he might have done some remnant shenanigans and gone out.
he didn't have remnant. I checked the remnants before.
Oh, okay.
So,
Your bottom tower is under attack.
Shadow Fiend has Shadow Blade.
Well, now it's done, so we can't do it again.
This Marana is very correct in his
yep, I agree.
in his assessment. It's exactly what's happening right now.
Yep.
So I think if you're playing Lich in pub games, you pretty much have like a lot of time just to stand around and look around the map. It's always a good idea to preemptively plan things out for your team, because majority of the time they'll actually listen. As toxic as
Yes,
it is,
and
they actually listen.
no, for the most part, I do try to instruct it, and when they listen to me, we win games. I don't think my direction is horrible by any means.
I mean, regardless of whether it's horrible or not, it's like much better
direction,
just to
right?
have everyone on the same page rather than
Yeah.
conflicting ideas. So even if it's the wrong call, it probably won't go so bad just because everyone's on board. So
You did the right thing. Your top tower is under attack.
yeah, healing ward is down. Just make sure you spread out.
Let's talk. Your middle tower is under attack. I don't think you're
What a play.
I mean, I can kind of understand it. That was kind of funny.
Your top tower is under attack. Top tower has fallen. Is this going to be a pattern?
Yo, let's kill this.
I think for future reference, if you ever say that you want to learn like how the game is going, how to read the game and stuff like that, it's probably better to watch a replay. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. This is what you wanted, Steve.
I mean, normal games are something else, honestly.
Apparently, it's been actually a very long time since I've done an unranked.
Tower is under attack.
I think unranked game, you should have picked something much crazier than a Lich. Should have went with like some other crazy support. Oh, where did the X go? Dude, your Kunkka owns.
It's really hard to do a 2-button combo. You're right. You got me. He's doing well.
It's a 3-button one. Wait, for Kunkka, or are you talking about for Lich?
Yeah, Kunkka. Kind of a button.
Dude, Kunkka's
Feels
hard,
like it's
man. Can't even hit
Oh,
his
if he
combo.
is. You can't?
No, I can hit it. It's
Oh,
not,
okay.
It's not 100% of the time.
Yeah, right. You always get sketchy when it's on one of those heroes, where it's just like, oh, he can just run away from it.
It's more for me. It's more of the I get like really greedy, and I feel like I can do more with the X instead of just a torrent. Like I feel like I can hit him with a boat first, kind of thing, and then I can torrent, and then I get like a much longer disable.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is like really straightforward right now. You guys are
Absolutely.
just so strong. As long as you guys don't get
Tower have fortified their structures.
five
Axe
man
called,
called, yeah,
basically.
you guys are gonna win this.
Yep.
This jug is kind of questionable still, though. Make sure you give him frost down.
Yep. And everybody. Oh. Casual.
Dude, healing ward is OP.
As fuck. Doing good.
Sick chain. Oh, the storm was ready.
Should. Where will it bounce? To all the creeps, all the farm.
Middle tower is down. You just let them.
This troll
So
actually
you're-
managed to take the tower. You guys actually might lose
casual.
this game.
Alright?
Yeah.
Troll did. That's bad.
It's unfortunate. Didn't have your. It would have been good if you had your 4 staff there. I actually don't know why the rest of your team decided to leave there. I think you guys could have.
Because Troll was taking fucking tower. Apparently that's
I would have traded.
trading, yeah.
I would have either traded or
You really should let
have one person go back to slow them down. Because if you guys took that top rack, you guys could just group up for that last set,
That's what I was
and
thinking.
they wouldn't be able to leave anyways.
Well, well, that's the thing.
It's a ward there. This guy
So
has
there
wheels.
is. Yep.
Dude, your Kunkka is mad rich. Holy shit.
Mad rich.
Blade mail fail. Oh, he got him.
Player.
I think
This is the lane.
something you should probably get used to too is using scan.
Yeah.
A lot of people just kind of forget to use it. You might as well use it, right? If it's
Yeah, it's just a
if
cooldown.
it's, yeah, if it's there. I think in these situations, this is where you really want to
I'm sure they'll be back.
hide some super deep wards, either in their base
Yep.
or
Let
right
me talk
outside.
about your top
Oh,
tower.
Storm, he's chasing you.
Yes, he is.
Make sure you keep frost armor on your cores.
Yep. I had it on at the beginning of that engagement.
Shadows take us.
All right, this game's over. I think their
Super
troll
over.
is done.
I think his trolls does as well.
I think if there's one thing that you really need to work on for sure is
Yep.
stacking.
Stacking.
Yeah, I think like the idea of stacking didn't even cross your mind once this game.
It did, but when things start getting really aggressive in lane, I feel like it's more important for me to be there. So
I think it depends on like the matchup. Like for example, if you're
well-
against an axe and everything goes right. Oh god, Vagrant's dead.
You force them into the jungle, right?
Yeah, you force them into the jungle and then you can actually go do efficient things rather than having to sit in lane. Use out of everything. Why does this jug do everything at the last minute?
Oh, cool. Oh, it's an MK troll. Oh god, it hurts. Hurts so much.
Don't give up. Keep fighting. Your Kunkka's actually really strong.
So strong. Just got him.
I think I would have forced staffed the Juggernaut when he got
Called.
Called.
Called. Yeah.
You'll step there
No,
might not be a bad
and
idea.
Most Lich games, I end up stacking a lot in the early game.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You got out? No, you should.
This jug? Is he serious?
Is a man. Fuck. Catch me. Good.
I think you should have force staffed over the cliff and then TP'd out. Always
Probably,
make it as unpredictable as possible.
I thought he stopped chasing. Probably a bad assumption.
Yeah. Always assume they're gonna chase you. Unless you have like visual confirmation that they're not chasing you.
And he didn't follow me down the stairs, so it was one of those things, I guess, I went off of. But yeah, as I was saying, in normal games I tend to stack a lot within the first 10 minutes, just to ensure things. You know, you can kind of just go to lane, sacrifice,
And
go
then
stack,
yeah, go
come
stack.
back. Yep.
I think it's okay as a lich. I think if you're any other support, pulling is always going to be better. Because you want to
Yep,
be able
I
to
agree.
get EXP and levels. Or,
Yep.
yeah, levels in gold.
So at this point, I mean, there's nothing really better for me other than a buckler or a mechanism.
No, your Kunkka
Yeah, I got
has
a
one.
mech there. Okay. So,
So
then
you
at
want
this
even
point,
you want even more to protect your
Cores.
cores. Yeah. So you either go Glimmer
so
or you go
Solar
Lotus.
Crest.
Solar Crest, that's fine too. Glimmer, Solar Crest, even Yules might be okay too. But I think Solar
Is probably the better
Yeah,
versus their cores.
Solar is it's such a hard choice because right now the big issue is that this axe is just owning everyone.
Yeah. And Glimmer doesn't help that. I mean, with Call, they're going to keep attacking, kind of break that up, right,
Maybe Vlad's is pretty good here.
lads?
Yeah, just give everyone damage and armor. Your team does need vision right now though. They're just walking around mindlessly.
Yes, they are.
I don't know why this jug says that they got farmed now. This jug has been feeding all game.
Oops, fuck me.
Okay, your team is definitely wrong in that assessment. You guys can
Yes, I agree.
easily fight. It's just you guys are never
Yeah.
fighting on
Together.
your terms.
Solution. Got him.
I think another thing too is making sure that you use not use, but make sure you always hold onto smokes at this stage of the game. Like you don't actually need to use them, but just make sure you hold onto
No.
them.
And again, I'm going to do the same quote I usually do.
Okay.
It's one of those things that I'm sitting here talking to you, being distracted. Horrible excuse. Oh, what's that?
You guys can probably fight this. This guy blew his load.
That he did.
Yeah, you need to plant more sentry wards. And this is
Yep,
also another
I got
good
'em.
time to, well, maybe not now, but
Oh, he'd put it all the way up there, but
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, you're holding on to 3 of them. You can just
yep,
use them freely. Yeah. Don't need to be so conservative. I think the other thing too is you never really want them to always be in the obvious locations. It's very easy for your opponents to just walk in from the side. Oh, big chain frost.
No, it's bad. He spread way too late on that.
No, it's fine. It did what it needed to do.
Sure.
I don't understand why your team got so mad. It's just a regular game. Who cares
Right.
if you guys lose? There's nothing on the line.
Welcome to. Oh. Turned. Good.
No mana versus nothing. Oh, the torrent came
Versus
out.
everything Kunka's got. I tend to buy smokes if they're not being bought by the 4 fairly often, but not too often. You said just to kind of have it on the off chance that this is the time to use it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, if possible, just buy them because they have such a long cooldown. Yeah, it's always good to just buy them and then hold on to them.
And I tend to play I mean, this game's not very representative of the normal games, obviously, but my 5 tends to be really hard. So my first item doesn't usually come until like 20 plus minutes. I tend to try to focus on vision as much as I can, kind of supporting the team, hoping that they can make the plays.
Yeah, definitely. And I know what that's like too.
Yeah,
I mean, if I was playing Lich in, one of those games, you'd probably just have like Wand and Tranquils by this point too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have 2 sets of racks, then you'll have items, but
exactly
for the most part, you don't really expect to have too much.
No.
That's like one of the nice things about Lich, though, is that you're not the best farmer, but you can at least farm because like hiding a Lich off the map doesn't really do that much. Like it's still important.
You're not afraid of a Lich not being there.
Yeah. God, these guys are trying to micro everything.
Oh, what's up, dude?
Storm is so annoying. I think something that you can definitely work on too is just warding in general. Just always keep in mind what your next plan of action is, and then you use that as your reference to warding.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to show you a replay of a game that I felt really good about.
Yeah, I mean, I can, for the most part, I can definitely tell like where your mindset is. Now you just kind of have to make it so that you place it in, I guess,
the
like you can say
spots.
better locations. Yeah.
Yep, no, I agree completely, because I tend to do just the safe standard ones. I'm just trying to give general vision for my solo queues.
Which is like something you always need. And I think the biggest one too is always having one for team fights. Like if you're ever in a team fight, just drop it. Like I don't care where you're standing, just drop it, because it is going to make your team fight that much easier if you just can see
as far as the vision is concerned.
Yeah, exactly. Like for example, if you're fighting at nighttime and you're already in the middle of things, just drop one. It's going to give you that much more of an advantage than what you currently have.
How much time do we have left? About 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's like a total scam having you go through that normal game.
It's okay. It's all good. If you want to go over a replay,
I think that'd be
relatively
better.
quickly.
Yeah,
okay,
that's fine.
How do you want to do this? Can you just bounce off of me, or?
Is it in one of your recent games played, like a ranked game?
It is.
Yeah, then yes. I can just look at it through your recent games list.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to like bounce vision so we can kind of see the same things at the same time.
Oh, you just got to like start the thing at the same time, or give a timestamp or whatever.
Right. Yep, absolutely. The guy, when I was with Gamer Sensei, just had us do a Skype call and just did share screen. That way, one person was controlling and talking about points and like that. So that's an idea for you.
I see what you mean. That also works.
So
I can actually just like, you can actually use the
Steam
app thing. Yeah.
Yep. It's up to you. Either way is fine for me.
Just let me know which game you're looking at first.
It'll be the Rasta game. The most recent Rasta game.
Most recent Rasta game. 32, 36, right?
Mm-hmm. I think this game is a little bit better representation of how I play pubs and how I play games in general as a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically as a Rasta too, something that's going to move a little bit more than a Lich does.
Okay, so I'm loaded into the replay.
Okay, I'm paused at -126, just kind of looking at people.
Okay, wait. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna. Let me do this.
Copy a clipboard, I think. Is it what it is?
Prepare for battle.
It's just fine.
So do you get that?
I did. It's like I'm just gonna get out of the replay and just kind of not slow it down as much.
Actually, alternatively, I'm already streaming anyway, so you could actually just watch the stream to see what I'm.
But
doing.
there's a delay for that, which was the
Okay.
issue.
Yeah, that's true. Let me know if you can see it now.
Dota, make sure this is what it needs to do.
Seconds to battle.
Just the... Beep.
Okay, it says you're watching now.
Yep.
All right, so you can see what I'm looking at right now. I'm just looking at your perspective right now.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. So you're.
It's loading right now. Hold on one sec. Terribly fast. Waiting for Eosin to reconnect to Steam.
Seconds to battle.
What?
Waiting for Eosin's broadcast to start. It's been a long ass time.
The battle begins.
Maybe this is why people don't.
Okay, wait. Here we'll just do it like this then, since
Okay.
it's kind of an issue. So I'm just watching your player perspective,
Yep.
and I'm game time wise at 0-0-0. So creeps
Okay.
are spawning.
Yeah. Just get back into the game then. Game time 0-0-0.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're standing below the tier 1.
Sure. So with this game, I did do the smoke TP kind of thing, large commitment, and I felt like the Earthshaker Murana was certainly detrimental to our Pudge, for what it's worth.
So
No,
this
he's
game you had a pudge mid, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I felt like the uphill vision for him was useful for his lane, even though he wasn't going to win it.
Yeah,
least
for
it-
sure.
It was just one of those things that I didn't really have a better place to put it. I don't think Prophet necessarily needed a bottom. And I guess the way to explain my thought process on it is that is I try to look at the lanes going, okay, what needs the most protecting, kind of like what you were talking about. Is there a reason to protect this hero? If he gets off to a bad start, is it detrimental to the end of the game? And so while there's probably only one or two of those moments, at least for our cores right now, obviously Void has to get off to a decent start here to ensure a decent game. Prophet is one of those heroes right now that even if he loses his lane, he just goes to another lane and wins it, and we get tower objectives off of that, right? Pretty simple idea behind that. So giving him a ward didn't feel great, I guess.
I think I would still give a ward to Nature's Prophet. I definitely wouldn't underestimate having your Nature's Prophet getting off to a good start. Like
Sure.
it is true that he can, go back into the jungle or whatever, but it's much slower than being able to stay in lane. And one of the main reasons why Nature's Prophet is actually such a good offlane hero is because you can actually 1v2 lanes very easily just because of how strong your treants are. And with how people have been buying Orb of Venom, for example, you can actually zone the
Trade
carry.
just ridiculously.
Even if they have Poor Man's Shield, they're going to take a lot of damage. So
Now, is that the reason why UV is so popular?
Yeah,
Is because of the poor man shields?
yeah, because Poor Man's Shield 100% of the time cuts out 20 damage, and you basically bypass that to some extent with the Orb of Venom, right? You just hit him once, and
It does what, 12 damage or
it does
something
12
like that?
damage. Yeah, because I think it does 15, but obviously there's 25% resistance. Am I right in that? I don't even remember. But
Yeah,
it's something like that.
It's like that, 20%. But okay, so I'm there. 3, 2, 1, go.
Tide is mighty.
Another habit to get into is if it's not necessary, try not to look at things that don't pertain to you.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, like,
Just in
you're
case
not
something's
doing
happening.
anything here, but still,
Yep.
it's a good habit to not look at things that aren't related to you. So with
Sure.
the way this lane starts, I wouldn't actually start on the side shop because
Okay.
you might have to deal with a block range creep, for example, or something along the lines of that. And
Oh, I see.
You might have
Being
to block
out
it.
front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you have to rearrange the creeps. Another thing too is if you're ever in need of a sentry like this, and
Yep.
you're dealing with an invis hero, I probably wouldn't place it that early. I would place it when it's absolutely necessary, or like
Necessary.
you have like kill potential or something. But until then, I wouldn't preemptively put it like this unless you're against a hero like Broodmother, for example.
The hope was to get off to that early shackle and try to pressure him out of lane right away.
Mhm.
Was the thought process. But
The-
you're
yeah. The
correct.
thing is, you're already hiding in the side shop, right? So chances of him not seeing you
Knowing
very
that I'm
high.
there.
You probably get him anyways. Shadow Shaman is a support that actually does very well in zoning by himself, but I think
High base damage and everything like that.
yeah, this was not an easy matchup simply because you're against a Weaver and the lane is pushed up so far, so you're already. This is already like a really good start for the Weaver. I think if your Void was kind of playing up a little more and you held onto the sentry, he might actually be dead at this point.
If the Weaver was better.
No, if the Void was better.
Oh, you mean, okay.
Yeah, the Void gave the Weaver too much space, especially with a
Sure.
with a sentry on hand. Okay, so he messes up here. I think at this point as well, with that kind of an early sentry commitment, it's always good to just use all your resources, and just go back to base by
TP.
dust or something.
Dust. Okay. Yeah.
Dust is what really pressures Weaver at this stage, not so much
Sure.
the sentry.
Sentry.
If you buy a sentry at this stage, most of the time you're kind of using it for dewarding, not really to get a kill. But it's always good to have it on hand, right? Because if you actually have that opportunity, then you have that to use. But it's always better to use dust at this stage.
So here, I basically just kind of prepped for it. Got my windlace. Wasn't going to get boots anytime soon. Probably should have just bought the courier upgrade right away.
I would have bought courier upgrade, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I definitely was late on that. But I communicated with my Pudge thinking that we need to get a kill on the Invoker relatively soon.
That's another thing that you need to work on identifying. If I wait, so can you pause the thing? So pause the
Yep.
replay.
Paused.
Okay. So now I'm hitting back 10, back 10, back 10. So I'm at 309.
You're not.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
Yep.
So this is where you reach your base, you
Yep.
buy your items, and you're sitting here healing up, trying to figure out what to do next. And you look at mid lane, right? And you can see
Yep.
your Pudge suffering. and then you decide to TP.
Yep.
So this is something you have to like work on as well. You have to make absolutely
Okay.
sure that you're TPing in with a reason, right? You said you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
TP here because you wanted to kill Invoker, but looking at how this lane is going, there was really no way you were gonna make this kill happen.
Yep.
As it's daytime. You with your ward there, you can see that there's 3 people on their side of the map, and your Pudge is already like at half health. It was, in my opinion, not a very worthwhile TP.
Sure.
But you guys end up.
We
smoking here.
do end up getting a kill here.
So this is fine. If if this was what your plan was to begin with, this is fine. Wait, is he actually gonna die? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He got greedy. Okay, I see. But if that's like your plan to begin with, then you should just walk into lane and smoke rather than TP in, show yourself, and then go like the roundabout way of re-smoking after you back up and then going for the kill.
I think it was also kind of poor timing too with the movements from the Shaker and things like that too. Because when we were first looking, like when you're saying back at like 309, there was only the Mirana up towards the north of it looking at Pudge, and we had our Clockwork there. And it was one of those, okay, we still might be able to do something, kill the Mirana, something. Because we know the Mirana has arrow level 1.
I think you probably killed the Weaver here too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, this guy messed up for sure.
Yep. So now here, with a little bit of Arcane, I almost felt like I probably should have just farmed the easy camp really quick before going back.
Yeah, I think that would have been a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
You would have been able to zap twice, I think, and it would have killed it. But
Yep.
these are little efficiency things that you can work on, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, you can ask your mid, is it okay to shrine, whatnot. You don't always need to, like... It doesn't always have to be a
full
the
pack.
shrine, yeah, the shrine is only for the core and no one else type of thing. Oh, this Void's build.
Void actually lives here, I believe.
Yeah, he has absolutely no regen. I think the biggest thing I can take from this too is, like you said, when you play hard 5, you normally have no items, and
Right.
every teleport scroll counts is 50 gold. But if it's not necessary, you really should just always walk into lane, because
Sure.
the biggest issue that supports have at all the time is that if they run out of resources, right, they do exactly what you do. They run back to base, they buy their items, and they TP back out. Next thing you know, that happens, and this happens like every single
A
time.
gank happens.
A
and I
gank
can't
happens.
Respond to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So it's very, very important that you try your best to limit your TP usage. You always want to be able to just walk wherever you need to go.
I kind of felt like putting as much pressure on this Invoker as humanly possible as quickly as possible, while we have, Pudge in a somewhat decent position for this, was kind of urgent. It felt urgent to me. Knowing that we didn't have a matchup that slowed down the Invoker at all, competed with the Invoker mid. Knowing if Invokers get off the good starts, they can kind of control the game.
So the thing about that is, while you're not really wrong, you also need to kind of pace yourself, right? You need to
Sure.
make sure, okay, he's gonna free farm for a little bit, but when does he really become threatening? And
Midas.
I think the Midas is probably the big turnaround point. That's when he kind of really like propels his farm. And you kind of just have to think to yourself, what would a Invoker be doing to farm? Okay, this guy gets caught out again.
I called that haste rune too during that pause. I was sitting there talking with Easy and Bondo. It's like, this haste pops up, I need it.
So I mean, overall, these movements are fine. Just
The little efficiency things
Yeah,
with
exactly.
TPs and
because this could have all been done without you needing to TP, because it's just
sure.
gathering up and smoking, right? And then you would have saved 100 gold. 100 gold. You never know where it's gonna lead you.
Well, and it's that whole what if this didn't succeed thing, right?
Exactly.
It always feels like, at least in my head, we talk about efficiency of 50 gold or the 50 gold for TP, 50 gold for smoke or something like that. That's if I am using a TP to get there and we get the gank then, rather than waiting the 20 to 30 seconds or whatever, however long it takes me to walk there with smoke, without smoke, that kind of balances out the efficiency. You're kind of spending to help right away rather than spend to anticipate a gank kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying that right,
that's
but-
something that you refine over time. Like
Sure.
and the more you play, the more you start to realize what actually will work and what doesn't work. And
Sure.
from that, you're able to kind of assess the risk and risk versus reward kind of thing. So
So, but I don't think I'm too far off in my thinking with this game specifically, right?
I mean, it's worked out so far, right?
Right.
I mean, the kill
has it-
potential
but-
is definitely there, right? The kill potential
But
is
has
definitely
it
there.
worked? Has it worked because we're making the correct plays, or has it worked because the invoker isn't particularly doing it?
I would say it's a mix of both.
Sure.
You know, looking at your TPs, it's led to success, but at the same time, I can look at it and be like,
Criticize it still.
well, it's not that. It's just that to me, it feels like this probably would have worked anyways without you needing to TP. You know,
Sure.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
see you guys ganking the Weaver. I guess this is one thing you can definitely work on, right? You know, you're against a Weaver. Apart from the first sentry
Dust.
that you bought, yeah, there was no
dust.
more, no more detection picked up afterwards.
And I guess it's one of those things that I you're absolutely right. I don't think of it with Weavers because of how inefficient Dust is when he hits 6. That I guess that's kind of somewhat ingrained in my head. Like, oh, it's a Weaver. Dust doesn't do as much.
This guy has a null. Why does this Weaver have a null? All right, whatever.
Oh, he goes Dagon too eventually.
But yeah,
Don't worry. Don't worry. There's an explanation.
Dust is very good this game because like one, it's not just a Weaver, right? You're against an Invoker.
Invoker.
You never know if he's gonna
And
Ghost
Mirana.
Walk, and then you have a Mirana. Yeah, so you actually need both.
I think I end up getting Dust once the Rana starts getting closer to 6, or once we start getting together a little bit more because of that. I'll be honest, I didn't think about it at all. Just here? No, I died here. But Weaver fucked up, but I think he time walks back. Yep. Did he went to the right? He did.
You might have made it if you used your wand.
Yeah.
You would have survived one right click, and you might have been able to bait him into his own death because you could have zapped him.
Yep. Charges though. Close. Yeah, like you said, it's might, right?
Yeah, no risk really.
Yep.
It might have kept you alive for one hit, and then you have enough time to Ether Shock.
No, I definitely hold it this time.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I definitely don't TP every single time. It's when I think that there's that moment of this is the moment, and if we make it happen within the next 10 seconds, this moment still exists. But if we wait, then kind of thing. An opportunity wasted is how it's thought of in my head, I guess. So we saw him get the invis things.
Very straightforward. In these kind of matchups, if you're playing a 5, it's highly recommended that you always, like, whenever you feel like you're sacrificing a lot, you can probably sacrifice even more. So, what I'm trying to say is you have Windlace boots, a wand, as well as
The Windlace
raindrops.
could have been, it could have been
Dust, it
a
could have been
Dust.
Sentry, exactly.
Yep.
So you.
It was just it was the order that was bought. It was something that I was trying to kind of play around with. Obviously, boots are really important for any of us, especially roaming supports. But getting that early Windlace off of that first kill, I thought was a decent play, just to kind of give me some movement speed, being slower as Rasta.
So here's the thing. You're probably you queued up with the Clockwork as well as Nature's Prophet, right?
Yep.
So this is actually something that you need to also work on as a support. You need to communicate like whether or not you can actually buy something, because another thing that could have happened is instead of you buying it,
Under attack.
this Clockwork easily had enough gold to have bought everything for you
He did.
in return. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's a fault on me because I don't trust my fours to do this, and I don't expect them to. I play a hard 5. I try to at least, but you're absolutely correct. In a lot of circumstances, when I was playing with the Nature's Prophet, he's usually my 4. On my teams, he played the 4 a lot, we talked about it. It was just like, all right, getting boots is priority for me. You getting the first few sets of wards isn't a bad thing. You can definitely afford it. You tend to go boots first anyway, or you're closer to it than I am, kind of thing. So
It really depends
That's
on the hero too. Like
It does.
honestly, this game, I would have put Clock as a 5. It's just much better that way. I think like Rasta really
it's so much better with farm.
Yeah,
Yep, I agree. And that's been a discussion as well between
because it's so
the
easy
Prophet.
to farm. Ether Shock is like an insane farming ability.
Absolutely
Hits 7
insane.
targets, 320 damage, 8-second cooldown. Even if you went Tranquil Boots, you could buy Soul Ring, for example, and you
that's
could,
what I end up doing as well.
yeah, and you can easily farm your way to Scepter, Refresher, like if
Yeah,
you're
or blink
thinking
or
really
whatever
crazy.
is necessary. Yeah.
So I'm gonna fast forward this by,
Yep.
I'll just say 4 times.
Yep.
Because the next thing I want to see is how often you use the map, basically. One thing you can definitely incorporate into your support gameplay is just being extremely patient in waiting for kills to happen. Especially on someone like Shadow Shaman. You know, you just...
This was a misplay from our Clock, and we end up not getting the kill.
Oh, I'm on 4 times speed. I already passed that.
Oh, okay. So I'm still continuing. What time are you at, roughly?
1430. It's going at 4 times speed, so I'm at like 1450.
Yep. Catching up. Okay. So I have Soul Ring at this point. We took mid tower. I called take bottom tower. You know, I have wards, but since they're not able to respond particularly well, I just held wards for this first portion, even though I probably should have just dropped them. Felt like we were relatively strong, so we could have just pushed for tier 2 as well, and I saved wards for that. Was the thought process, but I ended up dying. And then as far as using the map, as far as patience, what are you looking for exactly here?
So I'm just watching your map movement right now, and everything is just very
Deliberate.
head on. Yeah, I mean, it's fine for a game like this. You guys are steamrolling, right? Like, two
Right.
of their players are freaking like disconnected and everything. Like, it's that's just how the game is going right now.
It
But
is.
I mean, like, what I guess like, yeah, you guys are, like pushing high ground. So I mean, it doesn't happen in this game, but like a very good habit to get into is just, especially as a 5, is to just always keep yourself off the map. It doesn't really matter what you're playing. You have no real reason to show yourself, right? Unless you're looking to, you know, defend a tower or push out a wave or, you know, bait for your team.
Yeah, affect the map in the ways we were talking about prior.
If there's someone you want to learn how to play for as a 5, in my opinion, one of the best ones to learn from is Solo.
Yep,
From Virtus
I agree.
Pro. That guy makes so much happen with absolutely nothing. He is the definition of space maker.
Sure. Yeah, and he definitely sacrifices himself in that way as well.
So I'm kind of speeding along here. I think another thing I noticed
same.
is your utility item usage. Like, there's a couple of moments here where you could have easily used Glimmer to some effect, but it's just like never casted. You know, like you got Omni Slash by Juggernaut and you didn't Glimmer Cape, so probably would have lived there, or you know, one of your other teammates could have needed it, or you know, that kind of thing. So
I agree. Yep, and that's one of those
mechanical
details.
things, yeah.
Yep, that it's always in the situation. It pops into my head, and then the fingers don't go to it, so it's the repetition for that. And like right there, I should have used Glimmer. I don't know if you're at like 25, 15-ish right now.
Yeah, I'm like 25. Yeah. So I mean, that was another opportunity to have used it.
Yep.
Might have saved them. Might
Yep.
not
and,
have. But
and as I was thinking about it too, I was like just in my head, I'm like, all right, I was fucked up that, you know. Definitely could have kept them alive.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I ended up going Yills for another one of those saves since the Jug was targeting me, plus the moon speed, plus the regen, plus all the other good that Yills does. Blah blah.
oh, that was a good game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I'm like thinking of something to that effect, but
Sure.
a little more
But
more hidden.
defensive, such. Yeah.
Because I mean, this game is kind of hard to go off of. You know, it's just like one
It
pub
is.
game, but
Mhm.
sometimes when games aren't going as well as you would like it to go, you know, you want to.
The plays have to be made in that way.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you could sit in trees for like 2 minutes waiting for someone, and it's worth it because if you're hiding yourself for 2 minutes, the other team is not going to like farm as much because they're trying not to die to you, right?
Sure. And especially in this bracket, they make plays without thinking of that type of thing as well. So you can definitely bully that opportunity, right?
Yeah. Obviously, you do need to make sure that you know the rest of the team understands that you're waiting for someone. Otherwise, you're in this position where you're like waiting for a kill, and then they finally come to you, and no one comes to help you, and then you're just dead.
Right, exactly. At least in the team environment, we definitely strategized around that. You know, doing that type of mentality of, you know, hey, we pushed in, we know somebody's going to farm this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just chill here, know somebody's coming, and then getting a pick off of that thought process.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you should get used to right now as a 5 is just always have the support items for every occasion. So right now everything you do is very reactionary. You want to be as proactive as you can, especially if you're like the one leading the team, for example. So
Sure.
if you know something is about to happen, you know, ward ahead of time. You even said so yourself that you probably should have warded, even though it worked out in your favor. You probably might have been even better, for example. And
Yep.
every team fight that you take, you know, there's never an observer ward in your inventory, even though it's like you're pushing high ground, for example, right? You definitely need to have all those things prepared so that you can just drop it at any given moment, so that
Sure.
the team fight's like super easy. I think like other than that, like at least you're making moves. That's super important for support. Being passive is like the worst thing you can do.
Right. As far as question. As far as the planning of attack, talk about. I feel like I struggle with that because I feel like it almost feels cliche to me, but maybe that's kind of how it should be. Like, there's a tier 1 bottom or something. You're on Dire in that game, putting it behind tower, kind of announcing, "Hey, this is the next tower we're gonna take." You know, is that
That's perfectly fine because it's at the end of the day, like it's worth it, right?
Sure.
If you drop a ward in the back of the tower, it's more likely than not you're going to use it to secure the tower or win a team fight and take the tower, rather than, okay, we're in this position where we're trying to take this tower, but the other team is like rotating everyone in, so we actually can't take this fight. We have the back, and you lose your ward. That is worst case scenario, but it's still not a bad idea, simply because you got everyone to come over, right? Then you just walk away, go focus on something else. You know, you did what you tried, but it didn't work out. But at least you managed to grab all their attention, so you can make space on the map, and you just disperse.
Now, is there specific examples I'm gonna like mention? Let's say our early game didn't go the way we wanted, and our pushing of tower potential is just vastly lower than theirs. Is it more important to put specific defensive wards, or just kind of center it around river?
It should
First.
never be around the river. It should always be on your next objective. And if it's a defensive objective, then so be it. Like, for example, if you're behind in towers and you know that they're either trying to take Roshan or they're trying to take a tier 2, that's what you're going to ward next. Because
So if you're doing a defensive ward, say you're on Dire, all tier 1s are gone and they're pushing up.
then
with
you
the
want
ward-
you want to preemptively figure out where that you think they're going to be pushing next. So if you think they're going to be pushing mid, you should be warding like towards the river side so that you can potentially take a team fight when they're about to reach your tower or when they're at your tower.
In lane.
In lane, yeah.
Yep. Okay. And I make those wards sometimes in the late game when they're, you know, pushing high ground, things like that, and we're just like 10k back or something like that. And let's say mid, for example, we're on Dire again, putting that ward just down on the ramp on the low ground, you know, seeing their movements and how their team is moving as they're pushing up with the wave kind of thing, I thought was useful.
I mean, it's useful doesn't even begin to describe it. It's pretty much like a game-winning ward if they don't deal with it. But the thing about it is you have to get you start when you improve, you start running into people who like know this stuff as well, right?
Right,
So
right.
where you decide to ward is really important because warding it right in front of your base is like way too obvious. People are
Well-
100% going to have sentry wards drop like at least around the sides and the middle of your base.
Sure. So then it is just about that ward battle then, like
Exactly.
constant.
Yeah. But all it takes is just a little bit of vision. Like you just need to be able to see a little bit. Like for example, if you're playing Dire and they're pushing up the mid lane, you know, you could have the ward all the way on the left side or all the way on the right side, like kind of close to the secret shop almost.
Mhm.
Not
Yep.
not to where the secret shop, but like where the staircase is, right?
Yep,
You can place one all the way over there as a Dire side, and chances of them dewarding that aren't as high. And
Right.
especially if you place it like to the left, people would usually check for the right side or, you know, in the middle area, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't see as much, but it's enough to win you a team fight. So
Right. And you're
Just-
talking just on so the first staircase leading up to
Yeah.
the medium and the hard camp right there. Yeah.
yeah.
And,
And
that's
it
that's
works
a
for
common
every
one.
side.
That's a common one that I take when the pillar to the east or the pillar to the southeast is taken. As long as it's up near the ramp there, it tends to be not too off.
Yeah, I mean, once you get used to it, it really doesn't even matter where you place it. You can get creative. I mean, sometimes people ward in spots that can only see in like one direction and it's blocked by a bunch of trees.
Trees and
and
shit,
it's still
yeah.
worth it because it's enough information. They just need a moment to see where people are passing through, and that's all you need to win a team fight.
Yeah,
So,
those are the wards when you're like super far behind and the supports are actually playing the support game. So it's like there's constant D wards in all the common spots, and you're just like, well, nobody's gonna D ward this, but it's close enough to where I want it to be. Thing.
yeah, I mean, it's always easy to play ahead. It's not easy to play from behind. That's like what the real challenge of becoming a good player is always from
Right.
playing from behind. So if you're behind as a support, that's where you have to start learning how to hide yourself in trees, set up traps, you know, dodge ganks, try to make it so that your cores can actually farm safely or tank ganks for people. But just watch solo play. That guy, if he's behind, he does not care. Like he's just gonna be like, all right, you guys farm this area. I'm going to body check this entire area for you guys, and then he'll walk through. He'll die. Doesn't matter because
And your cores will just walk away.
that's what his goal is. He's trying to get
Mm-hmm.
you information. So, all right. Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut it there because I'm gonna
Yep.
be late in picking up Sheila. She's gonna yell at me. Dude, she gets out.
What's-
She gets out in 8 minutes. So
How long
that's
does it take you to get there?
Like 20.
Oh, nice, perfect. Well, you can just blame me then. Just blame
Okay,
me.
all right. I'm just gonna
Straight.
blame you.
I think that is a very safe bet with Sheila. She will accept that. She won't be mad. You're off the hook. We're good to go. All right.
right.
Well, I appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, no problem. If you have any like follow up questions, just send them my way. I'll be back later.
Well, I was planning on doing like a 5 lesson thing with you, just as a forewarning.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Just to kind of and I'm trying to get Bondo to hit you up, and I'm trying to get other people to hit you up as well. Get some free advertisement.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
dude. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'll see you
All right,
later
cool.
then.
Yep. Have a good one, man.
All right. Bye, guys.